Hey everyone, welcome to Oddcast. I'm your host Joe, and today we're going to talk about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons. But not a particular episode per se. This is more of just a general overall criticism, a critique, if you would, of the series so far. Yes, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I don't know. I don't have high hopes. It's probably going to end in flames the way the first one did. Who knows? But I did notice that there's a thing that you can do, and it's crazy. As an adult, you can learn from the past, and you can correct some of the problems that you might have faced because you've grown and you evolved as a person. And I noticed that House of the Dragon doesn't seem like it learned from some of the problems that Game of Thrones faced. So I just wanted to say that it's got some problems, and I don't feel like it's too late to address them, and I'm hoping now that episode 8 has passed, that these last 2 episodes, a couple of those problems are going to be sorted out, especially moving into season 2, because I mean, they're going to get it. So here are the things that I noticed. These are all problems that season 8 of Game of Thrones faced. So it's not like it was an overall problem with Game of Thrones, the entire show, but it was just problems noticed in season 8. Things that people complained about online, in person, things that you talked about in general, and just how House of the Dragon seems to be continuing those trends. So, here we go. 1. The rush to get it out. And I mean, missed editing things can get weird. We all remember there's a Starbucks cup in season 8. It was quite the thing, and it made a lot of memes. They're repeating those same things. Editors are missing small things, like King Viserys's CG hand glove, the green screen glove, rather, is present on him for, almost an entire episode. So I'm sure that that'll be altered because now we live in the digital age and you can go back and fix those things, but it's the fact that it's happening in the first place seems weird. This is your kind of baby. So Discovery Plus, I'm looking at you. If this is your baby that you're going to try and launch more stuff on, maybe pay a little bit more attention to it. 2, everybody complained that in season 8, time moved too quickly. And this show is hey, you think you're moving quickly through season 8 of Game of Thrones? Hold my Starbucks cup. And has just plowed through a whole bunch of story points. And I get it. You people are going to chew me up in the comments. I understand that the book actually doesn't really start until really episode 8 is my understanding. The king has to die and then the actual story begins, pretty much. So I understand that there's a rush to get there, but I felt like maybe, just maybe, if you can take liberties from the book, which you can, we know that you can. After all, they made up the ending to the original Game of Thrones, and they've added the vision of the future, which I hate. I hate the fact that the Song of Fire and Ice has made its way into the show, because now that I know the prophecy is shit, it just... story for a different time, or if you're willing to listen to me critique that, it is in this video right here, somewhere. I think there's a card. But the point being that moving too quickly can serve a purpose. You can accomplish a lot of things, especially if, in Rings of Power, all of your characters are essentially immortal. You can follow the elves and make a jump of 100 years because your main characters don't change. Their face doesn't change. Who they are doesn't change. It's essentially the same, because really 100 years to an elf is the blink of an eye, because they're going to live forever. So when your characters are immortal, whether they're vampires or elves or whatever, you can jump all over the place, do whatever you want. But when they're human, in order to establish a connection with people, you're going to need a little bit more time. Which leads me to point 3. Point 3 was everybody's complaint with the original Game of Thrones, and I'm talking season 1 and 2, this isn't even a season 8 problem, is one question. Who is that? All of us have watched Game of Thrones with somebody who is watching it maybe for the first time, maybe they've only watched it 3 times, or maybe they've sat through every episode of every season with you, and now they're watching one more episode with you, and there's that question. Who is that? Who's that? Who's the blonde? Who's the brunette? Oh, is that the guy who did the thing? Oh, wait, is that the Oh, that's not them. That's somebody else. I'm thinking of somebody else. We've all experienced that while watching Game of Thrones. So, having two characters name the same thing, yeah, get it. Got it? It's a big deal now because obviously, King Viserys thinks that there's different... He was talking about different people, but of course the mistake is made that they think they're talking about the same one, and it means something different to somebody, blah, blah. That's fine. But you have all these names that start with V, and before you can get used to saying this person, you have to explain that there's been a time jump that has caused you to recast the character. Like, I really feel like maybe, just maybe, they should have done the thing that Power Rangers has done for forever and just gotten 20-year-olds to play teenagers and then just let them be their real age for a little while and then age them up one time. Instead of doing like the jump to jump to jump. Or just keeping with the same actress. Like, Rhaenyra doesn't even look like Rhaenyra. And I don't mind it. Like, they're both phenomenal actresses, but just they don't look alike. Viserys, played by the same guy the whole time. Matt Smith, just not aging. Kristen Cole, just not aging. Like, they're elves. They're vampires. I don't know. They're immortal of some kind. The prophecy chick lady of Whispers from the first episode, I don't even know her name. Damon's whore. Like, and that's not even her. That's not who she is. She's the master of Whispers. She hasn't really aged. And I didn't see a magical necklace on her. Correct me if I'm wrong, but... So it's just, some of the characters are aging, some of them aren't. Otto hasn't aged a day in 21 years. That's pretty incredible, considering that, that time span has happened. Just hasn't aged. Timeless. Timeless beauty. So if some characters aren't aging and other characters are aging, to the casual fan who's watching it and trying to figure out who's who, if they're not really adept at figuring out who's who or following the story, it makes it incredibly complicated. And a lot of people are probably going to quit before they really jump into it, which is what happened with the original Game of Thrones. I had a lot of people abandon it in season 1 and 2, only to then come back later once it had gained more popularity and steam. That could be prevented if we just slowed down just a little bit. So I'm hoping that that is the problem that will be sorted, because now I'm hoping there's not going to be like another 4 or 6 year time jump where suddenly everybody's a different age and they've recast like 10 more characters for no reason. So hopefully that gets addressed. And then finally, Season 8 had an episode that is famous for, you just didn't adjust the brightness on your television. And I don't know what it is about that episode that the creators of House of the Dragon were like, you know what we should do? We should do another episode that's entirely in darkness where you can't make out anything. Because I watched it with like 4 other people, and all of them had to be like, who is that? Wait, is that the... Who is that? And if you watch reactors online, all of them had the same thing. Is something wrong with the television? What's going on here? Like, it just wasn't a good filter. And it's crazy to me to see it now, because we know that you can do darkness in a way that you can see everything, because Rings of Power has done it like a dozen times by now. They take place at night. There's ambient lighting. They can use the moon. Like, I don't know why they decided to film during the day and put a night filter on, but whatever that night filter is, it's garbage. Like, it hurt my eyes, and I saw other people straining. It just made everything really hard to follow. And that's crazy to me because I love the black and white Zorro, now available on Disney+, and it does the same thing where it films during the day, but then it filters it to make it look at night, even though it's not at night. But it doesn't use like a weird blue filter, it's just black and white, so I guess that makes it easier. But those are the things. Those are the 4 things that if I could change them for Game of Thrones House of the Dragon, I would change them, because in my opinion, it will make the show better. But again, I'm hoping that we can learn from history and not let it repeat itself. That said, I hope that you're continuing to enjoy House of the Dragon. I think we've got 2 episodes left of the season, and I look forward to talking to you about it more at the season finale. Until next time, this has been Oddcast. I'm Joe. Have a great night, and stay safe out there.